Hashtag cold open. I watched a captain, a high-ranking officer, walk out of a hospital room with a look on her face I'll never forget. It was pure, undiluted rage. And I knew in that moment that two people's lives were about to be completely destroyed. I just didn't know how thoroughly. Hashtag full script. So here's the thing about the Navy, most people think it's all about being tough and strong. But the truth is, at least in my field, you get selected for your job because you're smart. You're good with computers. You understand complex systems. Not because you can bench press a car. I was stationed on a submarine base in Connecticut, and I had this friend from boot camp. We'll call him Bill. Great guy. Pragmatic. Really intelligent. The kind of person who would have been an amazing sonar technician if life had treated him a little differently. But here's the problem. Bill wasn't the most physically fit guy. He was shorter, a bit heavier, wore glasses. And in our training command, we had a couple of petty officers, senior enlisted guys, who had somehow convinced themselves they were hardcore soldiers despite the fact that literally all of us were nerds in a highly specialized field. These two guys were obsessed with fitness. Obsessed. We do PT 3 times a week, and while most of us could keep up, Bill would fall behind on runs or not quite meet whatever insane standard these two had set in their heads. But, and this is important, Bill passed all his minimum fitness requirements. He just wasn't as extreme as they were. That didn't matter to them. They made it their personal mission to tear him down. They'd call him fat. Lazy. Useless. They'd tell him he should kill himself. They were relentless, constantly on him, despite the fact that he was literally meeting all the official standards. Then, at some point, Bill pushed himself too hard during a workout and injured his knee pretty badly. He went to the base doctor, got light-duty paperwork, had all the documentation. The right thing for his body to do was rest and recover. So what did these petty officers do? They ignored the paperwork. They threatened to kick him out if he didn't keep doing the full workouts. They ignored a direct medical order from a doctor on base. And Bill, being the guy he was, the guy who wanted to prove himself, he kept pushing. He kept injuring himself worse and worse. And the whole time, his mental health is just deteriorating. Now, back then, the Navy didn't really have accessible mental health services. The only person you could talk to about that stuff was the chaplain. And for those who don't know, the chaplain is basically a commissioned officer, usually a pastor or a rabbi, who holds the rank of captain. That's a high-ranking officer. Our chaplain was this incredibly sweet, compassionate woman, but she had serious authority. So Bill, finally realizing he needed help, set up a meeting with her. The moment he told these two petty officers he'd be missing class the next day for a chaplain appointment, they lost it. They yelled at him. They berated him. They called him a pussy, told him he was useless, that he didn't belong in the Navy. And here's the cruel part, they told him the chaplain wouldn't care. That nobody would care. They promised to make his life even worse if he didn't show up to class the next day. So Bill canceled the appointment. That same night, bad timing barely covers it, his girlfriend broke up with him. And Bill, he just couldn't handle it anymore. At 3 in the morning, my phone rang. It was Bill. I couldn't hear anything on the other end. I kept asking, Bill? You there? Are you okay? But there was nothing. I figured it was a drunk dial or maybe his phone got sat on or something, so I hung up and went back to bed. I still regret that decision every single day. The next morning, everything exploded. A few of us got calls from Bill's ex-girlfriend. She was calling to tell us that Bill was in the hospital. He had slit his own throat. Turns out a bunch of us got that 3 a.m. call. Bill couldn't speak. He was losing blood and couldn't tell us what was happening. We finished what we needed to do on base and rushed to the hospital. As we're running through the hallways, we passed the chaplain on her way out. She stops to tell us that Bill's going to be okay. And then she says something I'll never forget, I won't forget this. And the look on her face. I've never seen anything like it. This small, kind, gentle woman, her entire expression had transformed. Raw, unfiltered rage. You could see in her eyes that she wanted blood. She wanted justice. And we all knew she had the rank to get it done. We got to Bill's room and talked to him. He could barely speak, but he told us everything. What happened? What he was thinking. And he was grateful, so grateful, that it didn't work. Apparently, it was cold enough that night that the blood clotted on the outside of his neck, basically sealed the wound. It kept him alive long enough for EMS to find him. The doctor told us he missed his carotid artery by about 1 millimeter. 1 millimeter from the entire story being completely different. A week passes. We're back in training, wondering what's going to happen. Then we get called in to see the chief, the commanding officer of the entire training command. He's basically their boss. He says he wants to check on all of us. Make sure we're okay. Make sure there aren't any other issues with these two guys. I tell him about an incident a few months back where they set me up, lied to him, tore me down. My friends share their own stories. Other instances of dishonesty. General cruelty. Honestly, I think we're just giving him ammunition for something that's already been decided. The next day, we show up to class and these two guys are just gone. Nowhere to be found. We're introduced to new instructors who would be taking over permanently. After class, I track down the chaplain and ask her what happened. She tells me she's never been more disgusted by the actions of sailors than she was by these two. They convinced someone not to come see her. In her mind, they directly enabled what Bill tried to do. So here's what happened. She went to the admiral, the top officer on the entire base, and demanded their immediate discharge. And he granted it. Both of them were processed out with dishonorable discharges. I'm not going to pretend I remember the exact charges they cited, but the Navy has a way of making the paperwork look however they want it to look, especially when senior officers want a certain outcome. Now, here's what a discharge like that actually means in the real world. No VA benefits. None. Not a single dollar of veteran support. They were immediately kicked out of base housing. They had to leave. The Navy only pays for 1 bus ticket to get you home. Not for your family. Not for your belongings. 1 ticket. That's it. And here's the really devastating part, when you have a dishonorable discharge, no company with a Department of Defense contract can hire you. That includes McDonald's, Taco Bell, Subway, all those fast food places that have locations on military bases. They're contracted with the military. They literally cannot hire you. They don't want to anyway, but they're not allowed to. So these two guys, one of them had about 18 years in. 2 years away from a full military retirement. Full pension. Healthcare for life. Gone. The other one had 12 years. Also lost everything. I don't know where they ended up. I don't know what they're doing now. But I know they're probably making minimum wage, if that. Their lives were completely and utterly destroyed. But Bill? Bill made a full recovery. He got a medical discharge, an honorable discharge, which meant he got E5 pay for the rest of his life, full benefits, and a referral to a counselor in his home state, all paid for by the Navy. We lost touch over the years, but I saw on Facebook eventually that he got himself together. Became a police officer. Got married. Built an actual life. Sometimes the system works exactly the way it's supposed to. Sometimes the right person with authority decides that enough is enough.